Captain Day-Wan stood on the red hill. The wind blew dust around his feet. His special eyes could see far into the distance. These were not normal eyes. The military doctors had put them in his head after the big battle where he almost died. Day-Wan touched the rough scars on his face. He remembered the pain. 6 years ago, the enemy ships had burned his body. The doctors said 80% of him was damaged. They did not ask if he wanted to be fixed with machine parts. They just did it. "You are too valuable," they had told him. "We need soldiers like you." Now he was a Scarhound. That's what they called soldiers who were part human, part machine. His bones were stronger than steel. His muscles were mixed with artificial fibers. His brain had computer parts that helped him think faster and feel less pain. Day-Wan looked down at his hands. They looked almost normal with gloves on. But under the skin, metal and plastic worked with flesh and blood. Sometimes, late at night, he wondered how much of the old Day-Wan was still there. "Captain, the enemy is moving," said Lieutenant Sunmi. She walked up beside him on the hill. Sunmi was a Scarhound too. Her eyes glowed slightly in the dim light of Mars. All 12 soldiers in Day-Wan's team had the same glow. They called themselves the 87th Special Operations Detachment, but everyone else called them the Ghost Pack. Day-Wan looked where Sunmi pointed. His eyes zoomed in automatically. He could see the dust clouds from enemy vehicles. "Big ones. I count 30 behemoth tanks," he said. His voice was flat because his brain implants kept him calm. "And at least 600 soldiers walking with them." "That's a lot," Sunmi said. "We only have 12 of us." Day-Wan almost smiled. "When have the odds ever been in our favor?" The other Scarhounds were spread out along the ridge. They all wore special armor that changed color to match the red and orange rocks. From a distance, they were almost invisible. Sergeant Tae-Jun crawled up to join them. His right arm was fully robotic after he lost the real one last year. "The comm unit is ready, Captain," Tae-Jun reported. "Command wants regular updates on enemy movements." Day-Wan nodded. "Tell them the hegemony force is larger than expected. Request permission to set up ambush points." The hegemony was what they called the enemy, a group of colony planets that had broken away from the Alliance years ago. Now they wanted Mars too. The red planet was too important to lose. It had water, minerals, and a growing human population of workers who dug those minerals from the ground. Tae-Jun put his fingers to his ear, listening to the response from headquarters. "Command says no attack yet," he reported. "We watch, and—" "Wait." Day-Wan frowned. This was not the usual order. Normally, Scarhounds hit first, hit hard, and disappeared before the enemy knew what happened. "Did they say why?" he asked. Tae-Jun shook his head. "Just that something big is coming. We're supposed to stay out of the way." The sun was setting now. The sky turned from pale orange to deep red. Soon it would be night. Perfect time for Scarhounds. To work, their enhanced vision worked better than any night goggles. Day-Wan checked his rifle. It was not a normal gun. It fired special bullets that could pierce the armor of hegemony tanks. Each Scarhound carried one, along with other weapons designed just for them. "Sunmi, take Jin-Ho and Young-Ja and move to the East Ridge," Day-Wan ordered. "Tae-Jun, you take 3 others to the west. I'll keep the rest here in the center. Keep hidden. Do not engage unless I give the order." His team moved silently, each soldier knowing exactly what to do. They had fought together for years. They knew each other's movements like a pack of wolves. Day-Wan watched the enemy force coming closer. Something felt wrong. The hegemony soldiers were moving too confidently, as if they weren't worried about Alliance defenses. "Either they're very stupid or they know something we don't," he muttered to himself. His enhanced hearing picked up a new sound. Behind him, from Alliance territory, came the low rumble of engines. Big ones. Dropship engines. "Captain, we have company," said Corporal Minho, pointing to the sky. Day-Wan looked up. 5 large Alliance dropships were approaching. Each one could carry 100 soldiers or several tanks, but they weren't heading to the colony. They were coming to the battlefield. His Neural implant buzzed. A message from command directly to his brain. "Captain Day 1, said the voice of General Yoon in his head. "New orders. Your team is to pull back to observation points only. Do not engage the enemy. Repeat, do not engage." "May I ask why, sir?" Day 1 thought the words, and his implant sent them. "We're bringing in something new," the general replied. "Something that will end this invasion quickly. Your job is to watch and report results." "What kind of weapon needs Scarhounds to observe it?" Day 1 asked. "Usually, they were the weapon." "That's classified, Captain. Even from you. Just know that after today, the hegemony will think twice before attacking Alliance planets again." The connection cut off. Day 1 didn't like this. New weapons usually meant dangerous weapons. Weapons that might harm the very people they were supposed to protect. "Change of plans," he announced to his team through their shared neural link. "We're pulling back to observation points. Command is bringing in something new." "What is it?" Sunmi asked from her position. "They won't say," Day 1 replied. "But those dropships aren't carrying regular troops." He watched as the huge ships landed about a kilometer behind their position. The back doors opened. Teams of Alliance soldiers in special protective suits came out. They were unloading something large, piece by piece. Day 1 zoomed in with his enhanced eyes. The equipment looked like artillery guns, but different. The barrels glowed with a strange blue light. His sensors couldn't identify the energy type. "I don't like this," Sunmi said through the neural link. "If they need those suits to handle it, what will it do to everyone else?" Day 1 thought about the colony only a few kilometers away, and the field hospital even closer, full of injured soldiers and medical staff. "Keep watching," he ordered. "Record everything. If this goes wrong, someone needs to know what happened." As the sun disappeared below the horizon, the Martian night turned cold. The hegemony forces were now only 3 kilometers away and still advancing. The mysterious Alliance weapon was almost assembled. Day 1 settled into position, his partly mechanical body not feeling the cold or discomfort. Whatever was about to happen, he would witness it. That's what Scarhounds did. They went where others couldn't go, saw what others couldn't see, even if sometimes they saw things they wished they hadn't. Hanbin checked the medical supplies one more time. He counted bandages, medicine bottles, and blood bags. Everything had to be ready. Soon, wounded soldiers would arrive. The field hospital was not a real hospital. It was made of 10 big plastic and metal rooms connected together. The Alliance had built it just 3 weeks ago when they knew a battle was coming. It sat on flat ground, 3 kilometers behind where the fighting would happen. Hanbin had not planned to be here. He was a nurse who worked in cities helping sick people. When the war started, he joined the Alliance Relief Corps to help. He thought he would work in safe places far from the fighting. But there were not enough medical workers, so they sent him here close to danger. "How are the supplies in room 3? Asked Dr. Ji-un. She was the head doctor, older than Hanbin, with gray in her black hair. She had worked in war zones for 10 years. "All ready," Hanbin said. "We have enough blood for 30 serious injuries." Ji-un nodded. "Good. Check the surgery room next. Make sure the robots are working." Hanbin walked through the hospital. His shoes made soft sounds on the plastic floor. The air smelled clean from the filters. Most beds were empty, waiting for the wounded. A few held soldiers with minor injuries or sickness. They would be moved soon to make room. In the surgery room, 2 medical robots stood ready. They looked like metal arms hanging from the ceiling. Hanbin turned them on and ran tests. The robots moved smoothly, picking up tools and putting them down. They would help the doctors during operations. "First time this close to the fighting?" asked a voice. Hanbin turned. A nurse named Su-jin stood in the doorway. She was young like him, but her eyes looked tired. "Yes," Hanbin admitted. "I worked in orbital hospitals before, the big one above Earth." "This is different," Su-jin said. "Here, you see them come in fresh from battle, sometimes still in pieces of their armor. Sometimes—" She stopped talking. Hanbin knew what she meant. Sometimes they didn't make it to the hospital alive. I heard Scarhounds are fighting out there, Hanbin said, changing the subject. Have you ever treated one? Sujin's eyes widened. Once, a female Scarhound with injuries that would kill a normal person 3 times over. She walked in herself, got treatment, and walked out again the same day. The enhancements are that good? Hanbin asked. Good isn't the word I'd use, Sujin said. Those soldiers aren't fully human anymore. The military takes damaged soldiers and rebuilds them with machine parts. They feel less pain, heal faster, fight longer. Hanbin had seen pictures of Scarhounds in Alliance news videos. They were always shown as heroes, brave super soldiers who could defeat 10 enemy fighters alone. The videos never showed what happened when they got hurt. I read the medical manual for treating them, Hanbin said. It's complicated. They have blue fluid mixed with their blood. Nano repair solution, Sujin nodded. Keeps their mechanical parts working even when damaged, but it's toxic to normal humans. That's why we have the special treatment pods in room 5. A sound made them both look up. A low rumble shook dust from the ceiling. Is that the battle starting? Hanbin asked, his heart beating faster. Sujin listened, her head tilted. No, dropships, big ones. The Alliance is bringing in something heavy. Hanbin followed her to a window. In the distance, against the dark Martian sky, they could see the lights of 5 huge ships landing. Those are D-class carriers, Sujin said. They usually bring tanks or artillery. Why do we need so many? Hanbin asked. I thought the Scarhounds were handling the enemy advance. Sujin's face looked worried. Something's not right. Those ships shouldn't be landing so close to the battle line. Dr. Ji-un appeared behind them. Stop staring and get back to work. Whatever they're bringing in, it means casualties soon. Hanbin, help me prepare the trauma center. Hanbin followed the doctor to the largest room in the hospital. Here, they would receive the most badly hurt patients. The room had 10 beds, with monitoring equipment above each one. Have you ever been in a mass casualty situation? Ji-un asked as they worked. Once, Hanbin said. A transport ship crashed near the Luna colony. 27 injured. Ji-un nodded. This will be worse. When the fighting starts, we might get that many in the first hour alone. Hanbin tried to stay calm. His hands shook slightly as he prepared injectors with pain medicine. What about the colonists? He asked. There are thousands of civilians just 5 kilometers from here. Most have been evacuated to the underground shelters, Ji-un said. But not all made it in time. The attack came faster than expected. Hanbin thought about the people who lived on Mars. Workers in the mines and farms. Families with children. Now they hid underground while armies fought above them. This isn't right, he said quietly. All these people caught in a war they didn't start. Ji-un looked at him with sad eyes. War is never right, Hanbin. That's why we're here. To save whoever we can. A young soldier ran into the room. His uniform showed he was a communications officer. Doctor, he said to Ji-un, command says to prepare for heavy casualties. The enemy force is larger than expected. How much time do we have? Ji-un asked. 2 hours at most, the officer replied. The Scarhounds are delaying them, but they can't stop that many tanks. After the officer left, Ji-un turned to Hanbin with a serious face. Listen to me, she said. When things get bad, remember your training. Focus on one patient at a time. Don't think about how many more are waiting. Just help the person in front of you. Hanbin nodded. I can do this. I know you can, Ji-un said. That's why they sent you here. Now let's check the blood-warming units. As they worked, Hanbin heard more ships in the distance. The floor vibrated under his feet. Whatever was happening out there, it was big. In room 6, where the least injured would be treated, Sujin was preparing beds with clean sheets. Hanbin helped her. I heard you volunteered for this assignment, Sujin said as they worked. Why? Most people try to stay as far from the fighting as possible. Hanbin was quiet for a moment. My brother was a soldier. He died 3 years ago in the Battle of Europa. The medical team couldn't reach him in time. Sujin stopped making the bed. I'm sorry. After that, I left my hospital job and joined the relief corps, Hanbin continued. I thought maybe I could be there for someone else's brother. Sujin nodded. That's a good reason. The lights flickered. The hospital's power system adjusted as more equipment turned on. Outside, the sky was growing darker as night fell on Mars. Night is when it usually starts, Sujin said. The hegemony likes to attack in the dark. Hanbin looked out the window at the red landscape. Somewhere out there, people were preparing to kill each other, and somewhere the mysterious Scarhounds were watching, waiting. What do you know about Captain Daewon? Hanbin asked suddenly. Sujin looked surprised. The Scarhound leader? Not much. They say he was one of the first. After the Proxima battle, he was so badly burned they had to replace almost everything. Some say he's more machine than man now. Do you think he still feels things? Hanbin wondered. Pain? Fear? The enhancements dampen emotions, Sujin said. That's what the manuals say, but they're still human somewhere inside. They must be. A distant sound reached them. A deep boom that was not dropships or vehicles. It's starting, Sujin whispered. Hanbin took a deep breath. Soon, the wounded would come. He was afraid, but he would not show it. He would do his job. He would save everyone he could for his brother, for the soldiers fighting, for the humans caught in a war between worlds. The first explosion hit 2 kilometers from the field hospital. Hanbin was checking medical supplies when the ground shook beneath his feet. Dust fell from the ceiling. Glass bottles rattled on shelves. For a moment, the lights went out, then came back on as backup power systems started working. All medical staff to your stations, said the hospital's computer voice. First wounded will arrive in 10 minutes. Hanbin took a deep breath to calm himself. This was not a drill, this was real. People were dying out there right now. Dr. Jian moved quickly through the hospital giving orders. Sujin, prepare the blood supplies. Hanbin, help me in the main trauma room. Everyone else, check your emergency kits. Hanbin followed Jiun to the largest room where the most badly hurt soldiers would come. Outside, the sound of explosions grew louder. The battle was getting closer. Will the hegemony forces reach the hospital? Hanbin asked, fear in his voice. Jiun shook her head. The defense line will hold, and if it doesn't, the Scarhounds will buy us time to evacuate. Hanbin wasn't sure if that made him feel better. From what he had heard, Scarhounds fought until they could not stand. They did not retreat. The first wounded arrived exactly 10 minutes later. 4 soldiers carried a stretcher with a young man on it. His leg was badly damaged by an explosion. 2 more stretchers followed, carrying more injured soldiers. Hanbin did not have time to think after that. He worked with his hands and mind, doing what he was trained to do. He cleaned wounds. He gave pain medicine. He helped doctors with small operations. Time passed in a blur of blood and bandages. More wounded came every few minutes. Soon all the beds were full. The sounds of pain filled the hospital. Hanbin moved from patient to patient, trying to help each one. You're doing well, Jiun told him as they worked side by side. Just keep going. Hanbin nodded. His hands were steady now, even though inside he still felt afraid. He was helping. That was what mattered. Outside, the battle grew louder. Sometimes the building shook when big weapons fired. Hanbin tried not to think about how close the fighting was getting. After 3 hours of non-stop work, Hanbin had a moment to rest. He drank water from a bottle and wiped sweat from his face. His arms ached from lifting patients. His mind was tired from seeing so much pain. Sujin appeared next to him. Her uniform had blood on it. How are you holding up? I'm okay, Hanbin said. How many more can we expect? Sujin's face was grim. Many. The hegemony broke through the first defense line. They have at least 20 big tanks moving this way. Hanbin looked around at the crowded hospital. They were almost at full capacity. What about the Scarhounds? Aren't they stopping the enemy? They're trying, Sujin said. But there's too many hegemony forces. and something strange is happening with our own side. What do you mean? Hanbin asked. Before Sujin could answer, the hospital doors burst open. 4 Alliance soldiers ran in carrying someone on a stretcher. This was not unusual. They had seen many stretchers today. But the way the soldiers moved with urgency and fear made everyone stop and look. "Scarhound down!" one soldier shouted. "Priority 1, we need help now." Dr. Jiyeon rushed forward. "Bring her to the special treatment area in room 5. Hanbin followed, curious and afraid. He had never seen a Scarhound before. On the stretcher lay a female soldier in black armor that was broken in many places. Blood poured from wounds in her leg and side. But there was something else too. A blue-black liquid mixing with the red blood. "Lieutenant Sunmi, 87th Special Operations Detachment," one of the soldiers reported. "Hit by hegemony sniper fire. Her systems are failing." Jiyeon looked at Hanbin. "I need your help. You've studied the Scarhound protocols." Hanbin felt his heart beat faster. "Yes, but I've never actually treated one." "First time for everything," Jiyeon said, already moving to prepare special equipment. "Their biology is still mostly human, the rest we can figure out." They moved the Scarhound to a special medical pod that was designed for enhanced soldiers. Hanbin connected monitoring equipment to her body. The screens showed both normal human vital signs and strange readings from her mechanical parts. "Blood, pressure dropping," Hanbin reported. "Heart rate irregular, and her system pressure is at 60%, whatever that means." Jiyeon worked quickly, her hands moving with skill and confidence. "It means her enhancements are failing. We need to stabilize both the human and machine parts at the same time." Hanbin followed Jiyeon's instructions. He helped connect tubes that would pump both human blood and the blue nano-repair fluid into the Scarhound's body. He cleaned wounds that showed metal and circuits beneath torn flesh. "Amazing," he whispered as he worked. "The metal is actually bonded to her bones." "Focus," Jiyeon reminded him. "She's still a human being. Treat her like one." Hanbin nodded and continued working. It was hard to remember the Scarhound was a person when he could see computer chips inside her open wounds. But then he looked at her face. Despite the scars and the small metal ports near her temples, she was clearly a woman not much older than himself. Suddenly, the Scarhound's eyes opened. They glowed faintly with a blue light. Hanbin jumped back in surprise. "She's conscious," he said. The Scarhound, Lieutenant Sunmi, fixed her glowing eyes on Hanbin. Her voice came out distorted, like a broken radio. "Where am I?" "You're in the field hospital," Hanbin said, trying to sound calm. "You were hit by sniper fire. We're treating your injuries." "How bad?" Sunmi asked. Her eyes flickered as if her vision systems were failing. Jiyeon answered while still working. "Bad enough. 3 major wounds. Damage to your enhanced systems. But you'll live." Sunmi tried to sit up, but Hanbin gently pushed her back down. "You need to rest. Your body needs time to heal even with the enhancements." "No time," Sunmi said, her voice growing stronger. "The captain's, he's still out there. You have to help him." Hanbin exchanged a look with Ji-eun. "Captain Daewon, your commanding officer?" "Yes," Sunmi said. He stayed behind to observe. "He's in danger." "From the hegemony forces?" Ji-eun asked, injecting medicine into Sunmi's arm. "Not just them." Sunmi's voice became urgent. "Our own side. The new weapon they brought in. It's not what they told us it was." Hanbin leaned closer. "What weapon? What are you talking about?" Sunmi grabbed his arm with surprising strength. Her fingers were partly mechanical, and they hurt as they gripped him. "They said it was a new kind of artillery. But it's not. It's something else. Something worse." "What is it?" Ji-eun asked, now paying full attention. "I don't know exactly," Sunmi said. Her voice was getting weaker again. "But Captain Daewon figured it out. That's why he stayed. To learn more. To send warning." "Warning about what?" Hanbin asked. Sunmi's eyes started to close. The medicine was making her sleepy. "About the weapon. About what it will do. To the hegemony. To the colony. To all of us." Her hand fell away from Hanbin's arm. Her eyes closed completely. The monitors showed she was now asleep, her damaged body starting to heal with the help of her enhancements and the medical treatment. Hanbin looked at Ji-un. What do you think she meant? Ji-un's face was worried. I don't know. But Scarhounds don't scare easily. If this weapon frightens them, maybe it should frighten us too. A loud explosion sounded much closer than before. The whole hospital shook. Equipment fell from shelves. The battle is getting closer, Hanbin said. Ji-un nodded. Finish treating her wounds. I need to check on the other patients. Left alone, with the sleeping Scarhound, Hanbin worked carefully to bandage her injuries. As he did, he wondered about Captain Daewon, still out there somewhere, and about the mysterious weapon that seemed to worry the fearless Scarhounds. Whatever was coming, Hanbin had a feeling their long night was just beginning. Captain Daewon lay flat on the red Martian ground. His body did not move. His special suit changed colors to match the rocks and dirt around him. From a distance, he was almost impossible to see. This was how Scarhounds hunted. This was how they survived. After Lieutenant Sun-mi was hit by enemy fire, Daewon had ordered the rest of his team to fall back. They did not want to leave him, but they followed orders. Now he was alone, watching the enemy advance and the strange new alliance, weapon being set up. Through his enhanced eyes, Daewon could see details that normal humans could not. The hegemony forces were now just 2 kilometers away. 30 large tanks called behemoths moved slowly across the red plain. Hundreds of enemy soldiers walked with them. They were coming to take the Mars colony, but what worried Daewon more was behind him. The alliance, his own side, had brought in something new, something that did not look right. The dropships had unloaded what seemed to be normal artillery guns, but these were different. The barrels glowed with a blue light that Daewon's sensors could not identify. The soldiers setting them up wore special protective suits. That was not normal for regular weapons. Daewon's neural implant made a soft sound in his mind. Someone was trying to contact him on a secure channel. He accepted the call. Captain Daewon, this is General Yoon, said a voice directly in his brain. Report your position and status. I am 1.8 kilometers from the enemy front line, Daewon replied without speaking out loud. His implant sent the words, My team has withdrawn as ordered. Lieutenant Sun-mi was wounded and evacuated to the field hospital. Good, said the general. You need to pull back immediately. Minimum safe distance is 5 kilometers from your current position. Daewon frowned. Sir, what does minimum safe distance mean? What kind of weapon are we using? There was a pause before the general answered. That information is classified, Captain. Even from you. All you need to know is that we are ending this invasion today. Something in the general's voice made Daewon feel cold inside. His emotional dampeners, which usually kept him calm, could not stop this feeling. Sir, there are civilians behind us, Daewon said. The Mars colony has thousands of people, and the field hospital is less than 3 kilometers from my position. We have calculated acceptable losses, the general replied in a cold voice. This is a direct order, Captain. Withdraw now. Daewon stared at the strange weapons. He made a decision that went against everything his programming told him to do. He decided to disobey. I'm sorry, sir, but the connection is bad, he lied. Please repeat your last message. He cut the link before the general could reply. Then he began to move, not away from the battle as ordered, but toward the field hospital. He had to warn them. He had to find out what this weapon really was, as Daewon ran, using his enhanced legs to move faster than any normal human. He noticed something strange. The sounds of battle, the explosions, the tank engines, the dropships, all began to fade. A strange silence fell over the Martian landscape. This was not natural. Sound did not just stop in the middle of a battle. Something was happening. Something bad. Daewon increased his speed. His mechanical parts pushed his human body to its limits. He felt pain, but ignored it. The hospital was still 2 kilometers away. He might not make it in time. As he ran, he used his implants to scan the strange weapons again. This time he noticed something new. The energy readings were similar to experimental technology he had seen years ago. Technology that was supposed to be banned. Gravitational manipulation, he muttered to himself. His enhanced mind quickly calculated what this meant. The Alliance was planning to create an artificial gravity well, a miniature black hole, right in the middle of the hegemony forces. Such a weapon would destroy the enemy completely, but it would also cause massive damage to everything nearby, including the hospital, including the colony. Daewon pushed himself harder. His legs burned with pain. Warning signals flashed in his vision as his implants reported damage from overuse. He ignored them all. The silence around him grew deeper. Even the wind seemed to stop. This was the first sign. Air being pulled toward the point where the weapon would fire. The silence before the bomb fell. Behind him, Daewon could sense energy building. His sensors detected a massive power surge from the Alliance weapon. They were charging it up, preparing to fire. He was still 1 kilometer from the hospital when his calculations gave him the answer he feared. The weapon's effect would reach far beyond the enemy forces. The field hospital was well within the damage zone. Thousands of people would die, including the wounded soldiers and medical staff, including the nurse who had helped Sunmi. Daewon had seen him through Sunmi's visual feed when she was taken to the hospital. A young man with kind eyes who had not shown fear when treating a Scarhound. Daewon made another decision. He stopped running and turned around. He faced the weapon. His enhanced mind worked quickly, calculating angles, power levels, gravitational forces. His implants could understand the weapon's workings better than the officers who had ordered its use. He opened a channel to the other Scarhounds who had pulled back as ordered. "This is Captain Daewon," he sent. "Emergency override. I need access to all our combined computing power." "Captain, what's happening?" came Sergeant Taejun's reply. "We've lost contact with command." "No time to explain," Daewon said. "I need to run calculations through all our neural networks at once. Authorization code Alpha 709. The others did not question him. They opened their enhanced minds to his. 12 Scarhounds, thinking as one. More computing power than most military systems. Using this combined intelligence, Daewon began to hack into the Alliance weapons targeting system. It was difficult. The system had strong protection. But Scarhounds were designed to break through enemy defenses. This was just another kind of battle. The silence was now complete. Daewon could see the air shimmering around the weapon as gravitational forces began to build. He had seconds, not minutes. With a final push, he broke through the security. Now he could see the targeting coordinates. The weapon was aimed at the center of the hegemony force as expected, but the blast radius was much larger than reported to the officers who approved its use. This was not just a weapon. It was a test. The Alliance was using this battle to test a new technology, not caring who else died. Working quickly, Daewon made small changes to the targeting system. Not enough to make the weapon miss completely. That would be detected and corrected. But enough to shift the center of the effect, to minimize the damage to the hospital and colony. As he finished, he felt the air being pulled toward the weapon. His own body felt heavier as gravitational forces increased. The weapon was firing. Daewon turned and ran again toward the hospital. He had done what he could. Now he had to get there before the weapon fully activated, before the silence ended. Behind him, blue light began to fill the sky. The silence was about to break in the most terrible way imaginable. Hanbin was checking Lieutenant Sunmi's vital signs when he first noticed the strange silence. All the normal sounds of the busy hospital suddenly seemed far away. The constant noise of machines, people talking, and distant explosions had stopped. Something was wrong. He looked at the machines monitoring Sunmi's condition. The Scarhound was still asleep, her enhanced body working to heal itself. The screens showed her heart was beating normally, but there was something strange about the readings from her mechanical parts. "Dr. Ji-un," Han-bin called out. "Something is happening with the Scarhound systems." Ji-un hurried over and looked at the screens. Her face showed concern. All her mechanical parts are reacting to something, some kind of energy field. Before Han-bin could ask what that meant, a low rumble shook the building. It started soft, like distant thunder, but quickly grew louder. The floor beneath their feet began to vibrate. "What is that?" Han-bin asked, his voice shaking with fear. Ji-un shook her head. "I don't know, but it's not normal artillery fire." The rumble grew into a roar that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Medical equipment fell from shelves, lights flickered, and went out. Then emergency lights came on, bathing everything in a dim red glow. Suddenly, the main doors of the hospital burst open. A figure staggered in, moving faster than any normal human could move. It was a male Scarhound in damaged battle armor. His face was covered in old scars and fresh blood. One arm hung at an awkward angle, clearly broken. "Everyone get down!" the Scarhound shouted, his voice cutting through the roar. "Get away from the windows! Find cover now!" Medical staff and patients scrambled to obey. The Scarhound moved with incredible speed, helping those who couldn't help themselves. He lifted injured soldiers from beds and carried them to the center of the room, away from exterior walls. Han-bin recognized him from the descriptions. This must be Captain Daewon, the leader of the Scarhound unit, the one Lieutenant Sunmi had been worried about. Daewon spotted Han-bin standing by Sunmi's bed. In 3 long strides, he was beside them. "You're the nurse who helped her," Daewon said, his enhanced eyes scanning Han-bin's face. Han-bin nodded, too surprised to speak. "Help me move her," Daewon ordered. "We have less than 30 seconds. Together, they pushed Sunmi's medical pod to the middle of the room. Han-bin noticed that Daewon was positioning himself between the outside wall and the pod, using his armored body as a shield. "What's happening?" Han-bin finally asked. "What is that sound?" "Gravitational weapon," Daewon said shortly. "The Alliance is using something experimental, creating a temporary black hole to destroy the enemy." Han-bin felt cold with fear. "But we're too close." "I know," Daewon replied grimly. "The safe distance is 5 kilometers. This hospital is at 3. They decided your lives were an acceptable loss." The roar outside was now deafening. The whole building shook as if it might fall apart. "Then why aren't we evacuating?" Ji-un shouted over the noise. "No time," Daewon answered. "But I've done what I can, used our Scarhound neural networks to slightly alter the targeting coordinates. It might be enough to save the hospital and the colony." Han-bin looked at the captain with new understanding. "You disobeyed orders to save us?" Before Daewon could answer, the roar reached its peak. Then came the light. Not the normal orange-red of Mars sunlight, but a harsh blue-white glow that penetrated even the hospital's walls. "Everyone down!" Daewon shouted, pushing Han-bin to the floor beside Sunmi's pod. For 3 endless seconds, the world was only noise and light. Han-bin closed his eyes, but the blue glow still burned through his eyelids. He felt a strange pulling sensation, as if his body was being stretched in all directions at once. Then, just as suddenly as it had started, it stopped. The light faded. The noise died away. An eerie silence fell over the hospital. Han-bin slowly opened his eyes. He was still alive. The hospital was damaged, equipment scattered, some walls cracked, but it was still standing. All around him, people were cautiously getting up, checking themselves and others for injuries. "It worked," Daewon said softly, standing up. He looked surprised, as if he hadn't expected to survive. "What exactly was that?" Han-bin asked, his voice shaking as he rose to his feet. "A gravitational inversion weapon," Daewon explained. "It creates a tiny black hole that collapses almost instantly. The hegemony forces are gone, completely gone." Han-bin looked around, at the damaged hospital, at the frightened but alive patients and staff. "But we survived. You said we were too close." A faint smile crossed Daewon's scarred face. When the Alliance built us Scarhounds, they gave us quantum processors that can calculate gravity fields with extreme precision. They just never thought we would use those calculations against them. From her medical pod, Lieutenant Sunmi's voice came weakly. You adjusted the targeting, redirected the weapon. Just enough, Day One confirmed, moving to check on her. The hegemony forces are still destroyed, but the colony and this hospital survived. Command won't be happy. What will happen to you? Hanbin asked, worried. Won't you be punished for disobeying orders? Probably, Day One said simply. Court-martial. Maybe they'll try to remove my enhancements, or they might just send me on a mission they don't expect me to come back from. Hanbin was shocked by how calmly the captain spoke about his likely punishment. But you saved hundreds of lives, thousands if you count the colony. That's not how military command sees it, Sunmi said from her bed. To them, he compromised the mission. The mission was to stop the enemy, Daiwan corrected her. We did that. I just refused to accept unnecessary civilian casualties. Ji-un joined them, her medical scanner checking Daewon's injuries. Your arm is broken in 3 places, and you have internal bleeding. How are you even standing? Scarhound. Enhancements, Daewon said, as if that explained everything. I'll be fine for another hour or so, then I'll crash hard. Hanbin moved to help Ji-un prepare treatment for the captain. As they worked, he asked the question that was bothering him. Why did you do it, Captain? Risk everything to save us? You don't even know us. Daewon was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice had lost its mechanical flatness. There was something human in it, something the emotional dampeners couldn't suppress. When they rebuilt me after Proxima, they replaced so much that I sometimes wonder how much of the original. Daewon is left, he said. They gave me orders to follow, programming to obey. But today I had to know if I could still make a human choice. Hanbin nodded slowly, beginning to understand. And saving us was that choice. Yes, Daewon said simply. Because no matter what they've done to my body, I'm still human where it counts, and humans protect each other, even from our own side when necessary. Outside the hospital, the air was clearing. Where the hegemony army had been, there was now only empty space, a perfect circle of nothingness, as if that part of Mars had been erased. The battle was over. The colony was safe. But inside the hospital, something more important had happened. A man who was part machine had proven his humanity in the only way that truly mattered, by valuing life over orders, compassion over duty. As Hanbin worked to treat Daewon's injuries, he realized he was witnessing humanity's finest hour, not in the weapon that had destroyed an army, but in the courage of one enhanced soldier who remembered what being human truly meant. Thank you, Hanbin said quietly as he worked, for reminding all of us. Daewon looked at him with his glowing, enhanced eyes. Reminding you of what? That it's not the machine parts that make a monster, Hanbin said. It's the choices we make, and you made the right one. For the first time, a real smile spread across Daewon's scarred face. In that moment, the Scarhound looked entirely human. The end